Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. And tonight, the New York Knicks lost in heartbreaking fashion. It sucked. I mean, let's be real, guys. There was no worse way to lose that game if you're a Knicks fan. No worse way. I mean, we were up 15 points with 2 minutes left, and the Pacers somehow come back. I mean, Aaron Nesmith, you just got to give credit where credit is due. He was the most clutch player in this game. And that's saying something because the clutch player of the year was on the court. Karl Anthony Towns was on the court. McCall Bridges, who's been clutch down the stretch in these postseason games for the Knicks, was on the court. And it was Aaron Nesmith who brought the freaking Pacers back into this game. And then Tyrese Halliburton, I mean, my heart dropped when that ball bounced off that rim at the end of the fourth quarter and somehow magically goes in. And when his foot was on the line, thank the Lord, right? That's what I'm thinking. Thank the Lord the Knicks have a way to erase this, comeback that the Pacers put together. Tyrese Halliburton given the choke symbol, the Reggie Miller choke symbol that he did against our Knicks. The Knicks can still erase that. That's what I'm thinking at that moment. Even when the Knicks were down 3 at the end of overtime and Jalen Brunson airballs that three-pointer and somehow we grab that offensive rebound and we get it to Karl Anthony Towns and he gets that three-point attempt, I'm thinking, all right, maybe there's a shot we go into double overtime. And just like that, my heart was ripped out of my body. That one hurt. That one freaking hurt. Especially with how good the Knicks did play in this game. I mean, I'm going to pull up the stats. I have them in my notes right now. The Knicks played better than the Pacers, and that's that's the most frustrating part. And we got a lot to get into, by the way. Thank you guys for tuning in, by the way. We're going to talk Brett Baty and the Mets finally putting some runs together. We're going to talk Jasson Dominguez walk-off home run, but I just want to vent about these freaking Knicks, man. Like, it sucked. You look at the stats. 51 from 100. The Pacers somehow ended up with more field goal attempts than the Knicks, and that was the biggest problem. The Knicks, for the majority of this game, they put up more attempts. And then at the tail end of the game, the Pacers just freaking took over. Their defense, I mean, they were switching. They were all over the Knicks offense in the last 3 minutes of this game. That's why they ended up tying it. You look at the three-point stats, I mean, they put up 37 shots to our 34 shots. They made 15 of those 37. We only made 11 of those 34. So there's the problem right there. But here's where I do like it. That's why this podcast today is titled, Knicks Should Still Win Even After This Brutal Loss. Because here's why. I look at the rebound numbers. We out-rebounded them 46-39. Offensive rebounds. We out-rebounded them on the offensive end 13-11. Steals. We had more steals than them. We had more blocks than them. In fact, we had 8 blocks to their 3 blocks. The issue for the Knicks today, or tonight, I should say, was turnovers. It was the turnovers. We had 15 turnovers to their 7. We had more points in the paint. We had 62 points in the paint compared to their 50 points in the paint. They had more fast break turnovers, and they had more fast break points. They had 13 fast break points, and we only had 5. And the reason we only had 5 and they had 13 is because, like I said, the Knicks turned the ball over 15 times to their 7. Our biggest lead was 17. Their biggest lead was 7. And that was in the first quarter. They had 27 points off of Knicks turnovers tonight. The Knicks, on the other hand, they only had 4 points off their turnovers. So I look at this game and I say, you know what? It sucked. My heart, like I said, was ripped out of my body. When you have Karl Anthony Towns scoring 35 points, shooting 50% from behind the arc, making four of those 3-point shots, shooting 11 of 17 from the field. You had Jalen Brunson scoring 43 points. He also shot 1 of 6 from 3, which I highly doubt is going to happen again. But it was the turnovers. It was the freaking turnovers. We out-rebounded them. I think we did play better defense a majority of the game. Down the stretch, we did not. And we turned the ball over way too much. We are the better team. The Knicks are undoubtedly the better team than the Pacers. Our bench played great. Mitchell Robinson and Miles McBride, even though we only have two guys off our bench, they played great. Even Campaign, he stepped into this game in the first half and made some big shots for us. When Jalen Brunson went down, when he had four fouls, he like the Knicks did not fall when Jalen Brunson was taken out of this game because of foul trouble. So I look at all of that. I look at the fact that the Knicks are the better team, and I still have confidence. I'm not going to sit here and cry and whine and moan that we just lost game one. It sucks, don't get me wrong, especially when we had a 15-point lead with less than 4 minutes to go. It does suck, especially when we are the better team, especially coming off a series where we just beat the reigning NBA champions that nobody had us beaten. And then now the Pacers get by the Cavs that they weren't supposed to beat either. And now everybody's saying the Knicks should beat the Pacers. And now after game one, everybody's looking down on themselves. I don't get it. I really don't. The Knicks can still win this series. The Knicks should still win this series. They are the better team. They have better players. Tyrese Halliburton, that was a great shot. You have to give it to him. But is he going to hit that shot in the next 6 games? If the Knicks are in a, if they have a 2-point lead, or a 2-point lead with the Pacers having the ball in the last possession, is Tyrese Halliburton going to hit that step back, almost 3, but that step back 2 in the next 6 games? No. Let's be real. The Knicks are the better team. I'm not just saying the Knicks should win this series. I'm saying the Knicks will win this series. If you think for a second that the Knicks aren't going to come out in game 2 on Friday night at the Garden, firing on all cylinders, you are out of your mind. Because the Knicks have yet to lose 2 games in a row in the postseason. They have yet to do that. Why? Because they always answer. They always answer. I look at game 3 against the Celtics, where they got punched in the face. They didn't come out. They didn't come out with energy that game. They didn't come out with energy in game 5. I look at the Pistons series, same thing. After they won some big games, they came out with a lack of energy. They got up, and it seemed like the Knicks, they lacked that sense of urgency. Because we all know, everybody watching this podcast knows, no lead is safe in the NBA, especially in today's NBA. The 3-point shot can get you back in the game just like that. And Aaron Nesmith, he proved that. And you got to give him credit. But I think the Knicks kind of not needed this loss because it sucks. They could have obviously used a win here. But now the Knicks know no lead is safe, especially against this Pacers team. They can stomp these Pacers out. I mean, you look at the first half, you look at the first quarter, the Knicks were dominated. The first 3 quarters, Knicks 36-34 in the first quarter, 33-28 in the second quarter. In the third quarter, they lost by 4 points. Pacers outscored them by 4. Pacers outscored them by 3 in the fourth quarter. And we all know why, because the Pacers just went on an insane run. And I look at it and I say, yeah, I give credit to the Pacers, but at the same time, the Knicks lacked urgency. And they say the Knicks even use that word a lot. Josh Hart has been using that word a lot. Jalen Brunson has been using that word a lot in these post-game press conferences where they say they lacked urgency. And when they had that 15-point lead, they lacked urgency. They didn't want to stomp on their necks. They thought they had to win. Let's be real. As fans, we probably thought we had to win. I know I did. So the Knicks just took the Pacers too lightly. And now I think the Knicks will not take the Pacers lightly anymore. They came off riding high off that Celtics series. They weren't supposed to beat them, and they did in 6 games nonetheless. They were up 3-1 even when Jason Tatum was playing. The Knicks are the better team, and they should win. Zach on X. What's up, Zach? How we doing, man? They absolutely can. They won't, though. Ooh. Have confidence, Zach. Have confidence. I know how you feel. I do know how you feel. Because I am a Knicks, Jets, and Mets fan. And I know exactly how you feel, man. Our heart gets ripped out of our body 9 out of 10 times. I have yet to see a championship from one of my favorite teams, even my college team. I'm a Rutgers guy. I never see any winning sports. Never. But at the same time, I'm at a point in my life where I don't give a damn. I'm sick of feeling like a loser. I am sick of feeling like I'm going to get my heart broken. Because even last year with the Mets, when they played the Dodgers, it was like, it was inevitable. It was, I know it's going to happen. They're going to beat us. But going into the Celtics series, I knew the Celtics had a better chance of winning. I knew the Celtics had a better team. But I was like, you know what? Screw it. Why not just believe? And I know it's cliche to say it, but why do we always have to feel down? We have a good team. We have 2 all-star starters. We have McCall Bridges, who we gave up 5 first-round picks for, and he's showed us why those 5 first-round picks were worth giving up for. OG Anunoby, he's one of the best defenders in the league. Josh Hart, one of the best winning basketball players in the NBA today. He might not be the best, but he's one of the best winning basketball players. So I don't want to feel down on this team. And I don't think we should. It sucks. It does. This loss hurts. Like I said before, like I said numerous times today already, it took the heart out of my body. But I'm not giving up. And I know the Knicks aren't giving up. The Knicks have yet to lose 2 playoff games in a row. The goal of the Pacers is to take 1 at the Garden in these first 2 games, and they did that. But we will all start feeling high again if the Knicks come out and stomp on them in game 2, which I think they will. Because like I said, they out-rebounded them. They scored more points in the paint. And in the last 4 minutes of that fourth quarter, they lacked that sense of urgency. They lacked it. So that's really why the Knicks lost tonight, and it does suck because Jalen Brunson dropped 43 points. Karl Anthony Towns dropped 35 points. They shot great tonight. And we have those 2. Who's better than those 2 players on the Pacers? I know Tyrese Halliburton isn't better than Cat or Brunson. I know Siakam isn't better than those 2. I know Miles Turner isn't better than those 2. And like I said, I don't see Aaron Nesmith hitting all those 3-pointers down the stretch and any of the rest of these games. The Knicks will come out firing in game 2. Be confident. I'm confident. We should all be confident. We're the better team. We will pull this series off. All right, we're going to make it brief because it is 12:32 and I do got work tomorrow morning like all of you guys. Let's talk about the Mets. Then we'll hop into Jasson Dominguez hitting a walk-off home run, erasing Jacob deGrom. I had 3 TVs on tonight, so it was hard to really pay attention to the baseball games, but there was moments where the Knicks were up and I was actually paying more attention to baseball, which I also lacked a sense of urgency. So, but, the Mets finally go up. They score 5 runs. Garrett Crochet, a pitcher like him to win a game when he's pitching. I mean, we erased his terrific performance, and the Yankees, same thing with deGrom. They erased his terrific performance. Crochet specifically has a 1.98 ERA on the year, even after today's start. He went 5.1 innings, struck out 5, only walked 1, allowed 5 hits, 1 earned run. Brett Baty drove in that 1 earned run on Garrett Crochet. Brett Baty with a hell of a game today, continuing to show why he deserves a spot on this team and why he should be in the lineup. It was also nice to see him get in the lineup against a left-hander. Brett Baty goes 2 for 4 today. He had that 2-run single and that RBI single late in the game to put the Mets up 4-1. So Brett Baty, terrific performance right now. His OPS is well above 650 right now, which is nice. I know it's not a lot, but when you take a look at his OPS, even going into this game, and he had a 678 OPS, he now has over a 690 OPS, so that's nice to see that increase. And you look at the last, This last recent stretch from Brett Baty, since he's been called up, he's been going off. Even since Brett Baty got sent down to AAA just a few weeks ago, he was starting to hit. And that's nice to see because, Mark Vientos' defense is terrible. We need to see him as the full-time DH. I do not want to see him at third base with his glove. He is a terrible defender at third base, which sucks. And it's also shocking to see because you would think he would take a step forward defensively. We're not asking him to be an elite Gold Glove defender. We're just asking him to be an average defender with his bat because he has been swinging the bat pretty well over his past 25 games. He's hitting over 300. We look at Brett Baty's stats over this recent stretch. Let's take a look at his last 20 games. Pretty good. Really good, actually. Brett Baty's hitting 278. He's got 15 hits in his last 20 games, 5 home runs, 13 RBIs. He scored 20 times in those last 20 games. And you look at his OPS. His OPS is off the charts. He has an OPS of he has a 908 OPS in his last 20 games. I talked about it a lot. I didn't want to give up on Brett Baty. It was very hard for me to give up on Brett Baty because I know the player that he can be. I know the hitter he is. He's a good hitter. When he started off this year, he was getting behind in the count a lot. He was trying to be patient with his pitches. And it seems like a lot of these Mets players outside of Brandon Nimmo have been really trying to be patient, try to get their pitch. Brett Baty, he's not that guy. He's a guy in the AAA who kind of jumped. He jumped on the pitcher early in the count. And that's what he's doing now. He's jumping on them early. Even against Garrett Crochet, he jumped on him early. He didn't allow him to get 2 strikes. So that was clutch by Brett Baty. So am I saying Brett Baty is going to be an all-star level player for the Mets? No, but I am saying that I do think that Brett Baty can be an impact player for this 2025 team. And maybe even going forward. Who knows? He was the number 1 prospect in the Mets system, even when Mark Vientos was a prospect. So I'm not giving up on Brett Baty. I'm not giving up on Brett Baty, and he keeps giving us reasons why to not give up on him, especially, like I said, over his last 20 games. He has a 908 OPS, 278 batting average, 5 home runs. He scored 20 times in those 20 games. He's got over 10 RBIs in those 20 games, and that's hitting in the bottom of the order. And we all know the Mets are, basically they're shit with runners in scoring position. That's the best way to put it. But Brett Baty tonight, he came up clutch with runners in scoring position. All right, you look at Tyler McGill. Tyler McGill had 10 strikeouts. He really needed a big outing. 10 strikeouts in 4.2 innings. Only 1 walk, which was nice to see. He lowered his ERA to a 3.56. Only 4 hits allowed against this Boston Red Sox lineup. I look at this series overall, and the biggest takeaway I have is our bullpen was great. Our bullpen didn't give up a single run. I don't think in any of these games. They didn't give up a single run in any of these games. Last night, they didn't give up a single run. In game 1, it was Kodai Senga who gave up 3 runs, but that was it. Clay Holmes was masterful yesterday. He only gave up 2 runs, 2 bad pitches, really. The bullpen didn't give up a single run against this Red Sox lineup, so that was really nice to see. Red Sox only 25-26 now. Mets 30-20, only a game back of the Phillies. So, sucks, but like I said, it's only May, so I'm not worried about being a game back in the NL East. We're still one of the best teams record-wise in the MLB. And even Brandon Nimmo said it. I know a lot of Mets fans are kind of feeling down on this team right now because the lineup hasn't really been swinging the bat well. But a lot of teams, almost every team, all 30 teams in the MLB, they go through this at some point. The Mets, unfortunately, they're going through it right now. After a very, high start to the season, they're now kind of hitting that rough patch. So this is where we really find out who the Mets are. If the Mets can come out of this and, get going again, then I think we can really finally see what this team is made of, especially this weekend. We have Dodgers for a 3-game set starting on Friday. So it's going to be really interesting to see. If we take 2 out of 3 from this Dodgers team, I think we will really find out what the Mets are made of. Luckily, after the Dodgers series, we faced the White Sox, we faced the Rockies, and then the Dodgers again. But after the Dodgers, it's Rockies, Nationals, Rays. So we get a little bit of a light schedule now after we face the Dodgers in this first 3-game set. But it's gonna be fun to see, who this Mets team really is. Who are they? All right, I want to talk about Juan Soto because that's the big one. Juan Soto has been getting a lot of crap recently. Oh, he misses the Yankees is what everybody's saying. He doesn't look comfortable. I think there's a really simple way to put it. Juan Soto does not like grounding out into double plays. He doesn't. I don't think anybody does. So I'm not shocked to see Juan Soto, kind of feel down on himself. I'm not shocked to see Juan Soto looking uncomfortable. Why? Because he's not hitting. Juan Soto's hitting 243 this year. That's not Juan Soto like at all. If anybody else in the MLB besides Juan Soto was hitting 243 with 8 homers at this point, with a 374 on base percentage and a 429 slugging percentage, OPS above 800, we'd be saying they're having a pretty good start to the season, but it's Juan Soto. He's coming off, an offseason where he signed the biggest contract in not just MLB, but in professional sports. I mean, 15 years, $765 million. Not only was it the Met fan that had expectations, but it was a Yankee fan. It was the Dodgers fans. It was the Nationals fans. It was every single MLB fan. Everybody was watching Juan Soto since the start of the season. And so far, he hasn't hit great. I don't think it's him missing the Yankees. I don't think it's him feeling uncomfortable. I think it's just Juan Soto's in a slump right now. That's it. This contract isn't a bust when today's date is now May 22nd. It's not a bust. Even if he does struggle throughout the year, we still have another 14 years left. I mean, I look at 2021 very recently. I mean, it happens with a lot of players. Roger Clemens struggled his first year with the Yankees. A-Rod even had a little bit of a subpar year when he was with the Yankees in his first year. You look at Francisco Lindor in 2021. I mean, everybody hated these guys. Carlos Beltran, even in his first year, he had an OPS well below 800. So what I'm saying is we can feel down about Juan Soto, but we shouldn't just give up on Juan Soto. Like, if you don't think Juan Soto is a great player when he's only 26 years old, he hasn't hit the prime years of his career just yet, and he's slumping right now, and that sucks. Don't get me wrong. It sucks. I am disappointed in Juan Soto, but I am not worried. We are 30-20. Like I said, I will find out who this Mets team is this weekend with the 3-game set against the LA Dodgers at Citi Field. And if we win 2 out of 3 games and the Mets, if the Mets win 2 out of 3 games and Juan Soto struggles in that series, I'm still not going to be worried about Juan Soto. Will I be disappointed? 100%. But the simple fact is, the reason everybody is on Juan Soto shit right now is because he's not hitting the baseball. And if he was hitting the baseball, the whole entire narrative would be different. We wouldn't see these clickbait stories saying Juan Soto wanted to be a Yankee, and then the only reason he's a Met is because his mom wanted him to be a Met. She wanted all the clothes that came with signing with the Mets. She wanted the suites that Steve Cohen was offering. Like, if Juan Soto was hidden, these clickbait stories wouldn't be out. Everybody's taking advantage for it. And I'm a member of the media. I write for Fansided. I know. These are clickbait stories. The media's job is to generate clicks. It's to generate viewership. And that's what they're doing right now with Juan Soto. They're taking advantage of Juan Soto slumping with his new team, with the New York Mets, after signing a 15-year, $765 million contract. That's what's going on right now. Juan Soto isn't regretting his decision. Juan Soto doesn't hate his teammates. Juan Soto isn't taking his private jet. He's on the team plane. Jeff Passan, a reputable reporter, probably the only last reputable baseball reporter today. He even said he's not taking his private jet. Everybody's just making shit up. That's what's going on right now. If you're worried about Juan Soto, basically what I'm saying is don't be. Can you be disappointed in him? 100%. I'm disappointed in Juan Soto. But he doesn't miss the Yankees. He doesn't regret his decision. He doesn't hate Francisco Lindor and Pete Alonso and Brandon Nimmo. Nah. It's all for the clicks. The old tagline used to be Knicks for clicks. In 2025, on May 22nd, it is Juan Soto for clicks. That's all it is. I do want to touch on Pete Alonso. He's been cold as of late. Pete Alonso did go 1 for 5 today. He's been sneakily getting hits here and there. I mean, even in the first game of the series against the Red Sox, he went 1 for 3. But he's not being the player that he was in March and April, and even early May. And that's the biggest problem with the Mets right now is you have Lindor slumping, you have Alonso slumping, and you have Soto slumping. Lindor did have a good game today. He went 2 for 5, a clutch home run to give the Mets some insurance that they didn't really need, but it was still clutch to kind of, stomp the Red Sox out, kind of put them out of it. So it was clutch in that sense. But Lindor, Alonso, and Soto haven't been hitting, and that's really the biggest reason why the Mets haven't been doing too well as of late. That's the reason the Mets haven't been scoring runs as of late. That's why they're 5-5 in their last 10 games right now. It's because their top 3 guys, their 3 all-stars, are not playing like all-stars. That's really all it is. That's really all there is to it. Pitching has still been great. Bullpen has still been great. Huascar Brazoban has been phenomenal this year. He went 2.1 innings today. He got the win, got 4 strikeouts in those 2.1 innings. He's now lowered his ERA on the year to a .90. I mean, Brazoban has been fantastic. He's only given up 3 earned runs. Only 3 earned runs in 30 innings pitched this year. You got to give a lot of credit to Brazoban this year, a guy who we didn't even think was going to be on the roster heading into 2025, and now he turns it around and he's been dominant. Reed Garrett, I mean, say what you want about Reed Garrett. He had an up-and-down year last year, but he's been fantastic too. He's only given up 2 earned runs now across 19 innings of work so far. He's lowered his ERA today to a .95 ERA. And Edwin Diaz has been amazing. Like Edwin Diaz, I'm not saying he's his 2022 self, but Edwin Diaz looks like one of the best closers in baseball right now. He has yet to blow a save. Another great performance tonight. What didn't get credited with a save because it was a 4-run lead, but he goes out there, he allows a walk, gets a strikeout, and gets a clean inning. Now, his ERA on the year was a 2.84. I mean, Edwin Diaz, he's given up 6 earned runs now across 19 innings, but also those runs come in bunches. Like, he's only had 5 games where he's allowed a run this year. Only 5 games where he's allowed a run this year. And he's pitched in 19 games. Edwin Diaz has been perfect in save opportunities. He's been perfect almost every time in the 9th inning. So this bullpen has been fantastic. That's another major takeaway from this series. Even against the Yankees, I mean, Ryan Stanek kind of that sucked. Daniel Nunez, that sucked. But outside of those guys, I mean, Edwin Diaz has been fantastic. Reed Garrett has been fantastic. Huascar Brazoban has been fantastic. The entire starting rotation, I mean, Tyler McGill was really the only one that hit a little bit of a rough patch so far this year. Everybody else, Clay Holmes has been great. Kodai Senga, I think, pitched his best game against the Red Sox in game one of the series. He let up 3 earned runs in the first inning, and then he gives you 5 shutdown innings after that, and he goes 6 innings. Like that was exactly what the Mets needed, especially after they taxed the shit out of their bullpen in that Subway series against the Yankees. So we really needed 6 innings out of Senga at the very least, and he gave you that even after having a terrible first inning. Clay Holmes made 2 bad pitches last night, and it sucked that he didn't get a win last night because he pitched great. He's been pitching great all year. I mean, you look at Clay Holmes' numbers now on the year. I mean, Clay Holmes, you can say he's been the better pickup from the Yankees than Juan Soto has so far. Clay Holmes 5-3 right now through 10 games, a 3.13 ERA. If I told anybody that Clay Holmes would have a 3.13 ERA through 10 games, they would take that and run with it. This guy wasn't supposed to be a starter. He's a reliever. He sucked with the Yankees last year. Clay Holmes is a very good pitcher. In fact, Keith on Shane Sons even said it, which is a very good Mets podcast. If you like the Mets so much and you want to listen to more Mets contact, make sure you go check out Shane Sons. They get a lot of stuff going on. Key and Keith over there. But Keith is he's very high on Clay Holmes, and I see exactly why. He probably has the best stuff in this Mets rotation, and that's including the bullpen. He might not be used to going out there and pitching 6, 7 innings every night, but he's getting there. And I think he does have the best stuff. I got to agree with him there. I mean, his kick change is phenomenal. His sinker is phenomenal. So I got to give it to him there. Clay Holmes has been a pleasant, not even surprise, but I would say, a pleasant pickup, a sleeper pickup, probably the biggest sleeper out of all pitching pickups this year. Because Max Fried's not a sleeper. Max Fried, he was an ace before the Yankees signed him. I'm talking sleeper pick. So I'll give that to Clay Holmes. All right. Let's talk. I got to flip the hat. I'm sick of wearing it backwards. Let's talk about these Yankees. Let's talk about these freaking New York Yankees. Jasson Dominguez erasing Jacob deGrom's masterful start. deGrom, in his return to New York, dominated the Yankees through 7 innings of work. Let's take a look at his final line tonight, just so I have the exact numbers. Yeah, deGrom goes out there, 7 innings, only 2 earned runs allowed. A Cody Bellinger home run was one of those 1 earned runs. Only allowed 3 hits, had 9 strikeouts in those 7 innings, lowered his ERA to 2.33 ERA. And just real quick on deGrom, he's the best pitcher in the league. Paul Skeens, I'm sorry, you're great. You're not the best pitcher. Tyreek Skubal, you're great. You're not the best pitcher. Yamamoto, you're not the best pitcher. It's Jacob deGrom. When Jacob deGrom is healthy, I don't think there's any MLB baseball fan that is saying they wouldn't want deGrom on the mound in a must-win game. So deGrom goes out there and proves that in his last, I think 6 starts. He has sub-2 ERA. He's really only had 1 bad start this year where he allowed 4 earned runs. He allowed 4 earned runs against the Tampa Bay Rays on April 5th. But outside of that, deGrom has been brilliant. deGrom has been absolutely brilliant. But the Yankees, they only put together 5 hits, but it was 5 clutch hits. Aaron Judge went 1 for 3 today. He kept his batting average above 400. He has a 402 batting average. It's just unfair. He's so good. Cody Bellinger, his hot streak continues, going 2 for 4 tonight. Clutch home run to give the Yankees the lead. He's now hitting 264 on the year with an OPS well above 800. So you got to give Cody Bellinger a lot of credit. He has been absolutely raking. He's picked it up. He started off the year slow. Every Yankee fan was kind of feeling down, like, all right, Cody Bellinger, what the hell are you going to do? Because you're supposed to be an impact bat, especially without Giancarlo Stanton right now. They need another guy besides Aaron Judge to hit the ball. Paul Goldschmidt's been doing great, but, he's hitting leadoff. There's not much, driving in. There's not much, RBI opportunities for Paul Goldschmidt. But for Judge and Bellinger, it's there. And Judge has been doing his job, and Judge has been doing a fantastic job, especially, considering he has over a 400 batting average, leading the league in RBIs, all that. Like, he's just Aaron Judge. But Cody Bellinger in his last 25 games, it has just been absolutely going off. You can even take it to his last 30 games, and Cody Bellinger has been going absolutely off. He's hitting 301 in his last 30 games, 34 hits in those 30 games, 21 RBIs. He scored 17 times. He's got 7 home runs, and his OPS is staggering. He's got, whoa. Where'd the OPS go? Yeah, his OPS is 933 in his last 30 games. So Cody Bellinger's hot. He's hot. And this is exactly what the Yankees need. That's what they need right now. And that's why the Yankees have really been clicking. Going into the year, I wasn't very high on their offense, but now they have one of the best offenses in the league, and the Yankees are really starting to click right now. The Yankees are really starting to click. 29-19, 7-3 in their last 10 games. They have a comfortable division lead in the AL East. They're on a 3-game winning streak right now. I mean, everything's going right for the Yankees. Everything's going right for the Yankees. I mean, they've only lost, 1 game in the last 5 games. 1 game, 4-1 in their last 5. So the Yankees are going off. Will Warren looked fantastic last night. Absolutely gem from Will Warren. Really only 2 bad starts from Will Warren all year. Outside of that, Will Warren has actually he pitched really well. Ryan Yarbrough, giving the Yankees 5 innings tonight, only allowing 1 earned run, 3 hits across those 5 innings. That was very, convenient for the Yankees. A little spot start there. He did his job. Jonathan Loaizaga, just doing his thing out there. I mean, he's been, hurt these past few years, but, he hasn't allowed an earned run yet. Only pitched 3 innings so far in the year, but he's been great for the Yankees in 2025. Tim Hill, doing his thing. He did give up that earned run, which sucks, but, overall in the year, he's doing pretty good. Ian Hamilton kind of sucked tonight. He's been sucking all year, really, but, you can really take what you get. The Yankees bullpen has been fantastic outside of really Ian Hamilton. And then Yerry De Los Santos. I mean, you got to give him a lot of credit now. He did allow 3 hits, but he escaped that jam. He got through an inning of work. He got through an inning total of work. So he cleaned up Ian Hamilton's mess. And then, got a strikeout, worked a walk. He got a walk on him and allowed 3 hits, but he did his job. His ERA is now at 2.08 on the year across 6 appearances. So we got to see more from him, obviously. But, and then Luke Weaver. What is there not to love about Luke Weaver? I mean, again, he tallies up a win, doesn't get the save because he got the win. But right now he's got 6 saves on the year. He's got 21.2 innings of work, 0.42 ERA. I mean, he's just been absolutely stellar. Like, I think I can say right now, Luke Weaver is the best closer in baseball right now. No doubt about it. Luke Weaver is the best closer in baseball. All right. Yankees, though. Let's talk about their upcoming schedule. Give a little prediction on what we do want to see from the Yankees. Ready for the Mets? We got to do it for the Yankees. And then Jasson Dominguez also, too. You got to give him a lot of credit. I do want to touch on Anthony Volpe, too, real quick before we get into the schedule. Anthony Volpe, everybody's knocking him. Everybody's knocking Anthony Volpe. And if anybody thinks that Anthony Volpe isn't, a good hidden shortstop, you're dumb. Respectfully, you are dumb. I look at Anthony Volpe's OPS compared to the other shortstops' OPS right now. And he has a top 10 OPS among shortstops right now. He's got an on-base percentage of 322 after tonight. Slugging percentage of 434. It gives him a 756 OPS on the year. He has never had an OPS above 700 through his first 2 years in his career. And now he has a 756 OPS. Anthony Volpe is better than a lot of these people are giving him. They're giving him a lot of shit. A lot of shit. He's been 222. 237. That sucks, right? But he also has a great OPS. He's driving in runs this year. He had a nice triple today. No, not a triple. That was that was not a triple. I don't know why I said triple. But had a clutch hit today. You gotta give him a lot of credit. He scored a clutch run today. Without his run, the Yankees don't win that game. So I'm sick of people just bashing Anthony Volpe without really looking at his numbers. The guy has a 756 OPS. Besides Francisco Lindor, Bobby Witt Jr., Gunnar Henderson, Mookie Betts now that he transitioned to shortstop, Corey Seager, Ellie De La Cruz. There's probably a few that I'm missing, but outside of those guys, I think everybody would love to have Anthony Volpe on their team as a shortstop, especially with his caliber glove. He's a gold glove. He's a gold glove shortstop. And he's having his best offensive year. And the Yankees are winning. The Yankees are freaking winning. That's the best part about it. And the crazy part is, even when he sucked last year, he couldn't hit last year, couldn't hit in 2023. And you know what the Yankees did last year when he couldn't hit? They made the World Series. You know what the Yankees did in 2023 when he couldn't hit? They made the playoffs. So, that's that. That's that. Yankees got a day game tomorrow, 12:35 against the Texas Rangers. A little early game tomorrow, noon. And then they got the Rockies, the Angels, and then they face the Dodgers. So, but then after that, they got the Guardians, Red Sox, Royals, Red Sox, Angels, Orioles. So a little bit of a soft stretch for the Yankees coming up, especially after that Dodger series. They should be able to beat up on the Guardians. They're a better team than the Guardians. Guardians are having a good year this year. They're 26-22 right now, but they're still the better team. Red Sox, they should be able to beat them up. The Royals, that's going to be a fun matchup. That is going to be a fun matchup. They're having another great year so far. But the Angels, the Orioles, the Reds, the A's, then they got the Blue Jays, and then the Mets in July. So just like that, Subway Series round 2 is right around the corner. We're almost a month away from that next Subway Series, which is crazy to say. But time flies in baseball. Time does fly in baseball. All right, that's it for me, though, tonight. Thank you guys for watching the James Nolan podcast. Hopefully, if you're a Knicks fan and you're feeling down tonight, hopefully after watching this, you feel a little bit more confident. All right, that's it for me, guys. Thank you for watching, whether you're on YouTube, X, Facebook, listening to the audio version on Spotify. Thank you. Head over to YouTube if you're watching anywhere else besides YouTube. Hit that subscribe button because I'm almost at, I think I just hit 400. So the next goal is 500. So if we can get those up, that'd be awesome. All right, that's it for me. I got to get to bed. So do you guys. I know everybody watching this is on the East Coast. All right, we'll talk some football on the next James Nolan podcast, too. I do want to touch on Justin Fields. I want to touch on Jackson Dart. I want to touch on these exciting new fresh faces in New York football. But that's it for today. Mets win. Yankees win. Knicks. Yeah. Hopefully game 2 they come out firing, which they will. Be confident. All right. Deuces.